So as I got into my turn signal switch, high beam was great. I've now cut off the leads and I'm trying to figure out which ones are going to be important ones because I'm going to have to buy either a new switch for an XS1100 or a universal switch. This goes to ground. This is part of the canceling. I think this is a ground. And what happened is this one was soldered to this little point. This one was soldered to one of these. This one and this one was also soldered to one of these three. First I thought that one was just broke, and then the one down here, which was, I believe, this one, came undone like before I even pulled it out. And if you want to take out this thing and not wreck it, just push on the button. There's a little hole in there. It just slides right out. So this right here still probably functions right, and I did break the plastic a little bit, but so it would work. But there's like no way I can solder these things back to there and get them to fucking stay. So I'm pretty fucked on this situation, and I'm gonna have to. I hate wiring fucking universal switches. It's not that complicated. It's just but this one having its own canceling system and being kind of complicated because it has, you know, the four-way switch and all that shit. I'm just gonna have to forget the four ways, and you know, I just got the damn thing to fucking work too. It pissed me off. I'm gonna have to figure that shit out and just do a simple switch. So it's, you know, dark green to brown to ground. That's pretty much it. So I'm simplifying a lot and getting rid of this, and you know, there's the pink one. So I only need these blue ones because that's the high beam, the ground, the horn, the yellow, which is a power. That doesn't go to the switch. That's to the headlight, and these right here are the turn signals. So I'm pissed. So disappointed. But it was just full of crud, and that was why the right signal would work but the left wouldn't, because that one right there was the left signal and that one was the right, which is completely connected. It's the only thing holding on now. Holding on for dear life. God damn it. Alright, so in my endeavor of figuring out this switch that I've got, I kind of lost track of what. Well, I guess I could look back at my old video to figure out what the old one wiring was. My wiring diagram in there in my manual was wrong. I did find one that was, I think, correct, because this one says that there's tan wires, and there are no fucking tan wires in this wiring harness. But I don't have a color printer, so I can't just print it out and look at it. So I'm just going to do some sourcing on here to figure out what ones are hot, which ones are whatever, to think about how I can use this switch. Now, for anybody who's bought this switch, they don't come with diagrams. This, you know, I bought this from US, but obviously everything comes from China. This one is the one that has the red buttons on it. It's the only one that I saw that was like this, that has an on-off for the headlight. It turns off everything. It doesn't matter if it's the high beam or the low beam, which is kind of cool because you can go commando or whatever. But there's this bypass. Doop, doop, doop. And I didn't understand how it worked, but I figured it out. It will make your high beam come on and flash. And I believe that I can't remember if it works when you have the on-off switch, even on or off or whatever. And the bottom half, yes, I did have to take apart the loom because I wanted to see where these connections were. You know, there's two yellows in here, and I'm like, well, it only goes to one. I know that they do this in wiring harnesses and wires. They simplify it down into one, as if you need brown going into multiple places. But there's these three wires that I have no reason why the fuck they're there. It does something like, I thought that the on-off switch would have something to do with these because they're connected into it. The way it is that the on-off switch has a brown and the orange coming together in the middle. That's this brown. And I deduced that that one must be power. I don't even know if I have power in my wiring harness, but so the brown and yellow are connected in the same spot. So that means that the orange. So that means that the orange becomes hot if this on-off switch is in a certain position, I guess. But I don't know how the hell it does anything, because when I tested it later, I couldn't get a connection between brown to the white or to the blue. So I'm like, what the fuck? It doesn't make it a connection between there. So I think I can omit these three, and I don't even need to use them. But it goes brown and orange in the middle, and then white on one side and blue on the other. That's your on-off or whatever. So that means that if your brown is constant all the time, then you turn that off, it's going to be it must send power to the blue when you turn it off or something like that. But your brown is also going to this thing, which goes right to the yellow, which is your high beam. And your high and low here has a blue in the middle, which is also your hot all the time, which is connected to the brown when it's on. I guess that's why the blue is over here and it connects to the brown. But I would have thought that if the brown was connected in the middle, then it meant that the brown connected to the white when it was off. But it didn't do anything to that, so I don't know what the fuck is wrong. And your low beam is going to be the green. So in this switch, all you really need is the brown to be powered, your low beam to be the teal or the light green, and your yellow to be your high beam. These ones right here, I might just cut them short, or I'll just wrap them up and then they won't mean anything. This side of the switch is extremely simple. Your pink and your black, they're your horn. Obviously this one's going to be one side of your horn and that one's going to be your other side of your horn. That's just how it is. I think one of them ends up going to ground and the other one ends up going to hot. So it's making or breaking the connection for your horns. And I think in my system I need to see what the hell the horns are, because whatever the color of the wire that's ultimately connecting to the horn eventually turns into a brown or something like that. So that's that switch. Your left and your right, it has a left, and then it has a push it into the neutral, and then a push it to the right. And when it's in neutral, it's not connecting. But the brown and white wire is the middle part, which I'm assuming is your power that's going to your turn signals. And then I wrote it down over there, your right would be the dark green and your left would be the gray. And I don't remember if that's the colors that they are on the bike. The bike, it's left is dark green and brown is right. And I got this theory that my yellow and red is going to be nothing, because that's my canceling relay. Because on the switch, there was this fucking part right here, which has the yellow and the red. When it went to one direction or the other, it would cancel it. It would turn it off from the other way. So that's only for if I'm using my relay. But I don't know if some parts are going through the relay and some aren't. Like I said, I'm going to get in there, I'm going to take off the tank, I'm going to look at my original plug-ins here. I'm going to look at the parts that plugged in to those. What the hell's the other one? And I'm going to see what wires I need. Right now I think I'm not going to need these, and I think I need this right here for the horn. That should be the easiest one. This was strange in the switch, and I think I actually bypassed them. So my no, my blue and my black and my blue and my yellow. I jumped that. That was my really. Oh no, the red and yellow and the blue and black. Yeah, all right. So they're all jumped. So somewhere in there, I think I only need one of these. I just got to figure that out. Anyway, I'm going to jump into it and we'll see what happens. Alright, I'm not a genius, but with trial and error, I figured this out. And knowing how my switch works, I think this is the simplest way. I'm avoiding the use of these wires. And remember, I bypassed some shit. It probably has to do with the relay, because I know that the yellow and the red went to the relay. I don't know how that went. These two definitely work for the horn, exactly how I hooked them up into the switch. Oh gosh, I'm holding on to shit. The pink and the black wire, just as normal. Totally normal. I have not done any hooking up the switch just because I know how it works, but what I was doing is I was jumping from things that I thought were what I wanted them to be. Anyway, I found out from the black connector, there's all these fucking wires. There's a dark green and a dark brown and a green and a brown, which they, I mean a brown with a yellow stripe. And then there's the yellow. I did label these backwards, but I'll show how they work. Turn the ignition on. I'm connected to what I believe is the right side, which is the dark green. Dark green is right turn signal. I have in the back, it didn't matter if it was connected in the back or the front, the one of my flashers. That flasher is just random. I'm not going to use it on the bike. But you can connect it to, let's say, the blue and the yellow, and it just fucking stays on. And it lights up the right turn signal. Or you could connect it to the friggin' blue, or whatever. I think it's blue and green. And it lights up and it stays on. But then I'm asking myself, why the hell doesn't it flash? Fucking amazing. Okay, so in theory then, if you want your turn signals to work, you got to get your switch with the middle wire on the switch, which is sending power. It's sending power because your signals are always grounded. If you want the circuit to be working through the flasher, obviously you do, one of these ones must be just constant power so that you can have running lights or whatever, or something like that on it, and that they turn off, you know. I think that's kind of why it's a complicated switch, because when you got running lights and you've got your flashers, the wires are going to flip-flop so that when it goes on with the power to the flasher, it needs to turn off the one that's just giving it power all the time, so they both be on all the time. And I think that little bit of finagling has to be in the mechanical switch. It's not going to be like, you know, a diode flips on, or, you know, or you heard the transistor over there or shit like that clicking. So right is the dark green, and you got to make sure that it's connected with the brown and the yellow. Your dark brown, which almost looks like it's fucking black, that would be the left. I don't have it connected in the back. I don't need to test it. I know that's what that one is. You got hot power from these. I don't know which one you need, but I feel like when I jumped this, I said that I jumped the yellow and the blue, or what is it? Green and blue. It's right over here. I wrote it down. I told myself that I would jump the red and the yellow to the blue and the black. So in that system right there, I don't have a blue and a black, but I bet you somewhere in there it just connects, and it ends up making both of these being on. I'm gonna use one of these, not both of them, because it would just be crazy if I did. One of them, the ignition's off. I'll use the one with the yellow on it just because, to be the middle part of my headlight, because if I low, which is actually my high, and now I'm going to connect it to the other one. That one looks kind of low. That one looks kind of bright. That looks kind of low. I can't really tell the difference. I almost can't tell. But I know I think I got them kind of backwards. Turn that off before I shock myself. Okay, so crisis averted. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to connect this. I only have 3 wires for the headlight, 3 wires for the turn signal switch, and 2 wires for my horn. And fuck this other shit. I know that it's still gonna, like, because I tested this with a flasher light, and I had it connected in such a way that I thought was gonna be my my headlight or whatever, and it made it jump from nothing to low beam to high beam. So I'm just gonna go for it and hope that when I get this all wired up right, I don't think I have enough gator clips to fake jump it. Fake jump. I hope this helps somebody. I don't remember if there was something else I was missing, because it was just confusing with having those two being connected all the time. It basically meant that there was that power going all the time. It must have been part of that relay that said if there wasn't power going from one of them, it would just send power to the other. That's their fault system, where if your headlight or whatever goes out, it'll turn on the power to the other. So that must have been part of that relay circuit, and that's why there's 2 hot wires, I'm guessing. Alright, so I'm gonna stop, and maybe the next part of the video would just have it me connected and showing me how it works. Alright, bye. Okay, so I have tapped in all the spots that I said. Horn, one side of the turn signals, the right and the left, and this is the middle of the turn signal going to the brown and the yellow wire, and this is the high beam, and this is the low beam, and this is the power. It's brown on this fucking thing, and it's going to the blue and the yellow, blue wire with the yellow stripe. So when I lit it up, everything's working right. Let's say I hit signal to the right. It lights up. It's good. By the way, the headlight is on, and when I hit the little trigger, it goes high beam on, and now it goes high beam, and ooh, it turned off. That's pretty fucking sweet. And I can still flash my high beam whenever I want when it's off. So that, oh, by the way, when I hit the high beam, that light, and when I turn on the high beam, oh, that light does turn on. It just took it a second. That was funny. That's kind of weird. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Dad poses by a deck chair. The kids have just come in from a swim. You can see the hair still wet on their heads.
Alright, something just fucked up, but I'll figure it out. That's not cool. Shit. Alright, something fucked up, but I'll figure it out. See ya. Okay. Alright, so I had my little freak out. Apparently, the switch right here, if you just like tap on it wrong, push too hard, it makes the high beam get jacked up. You just have to wiggle it, and it fucking makes it go out. Hopefully that doesn't make me like not pass an inspection or something like that. But whatever, it all works. It didn't fail, it didn't blow any fuses, the signal works great, it's fine. I did want to show you what I do with wires that I don't have places for. I take hot glue and I cover up the ends, because these got hot sometimes. I mean, like, you know, they had power going to them sometimes, and I just couldn't figure out how the hell to use them. I probably could have figured it out. I think this is part of that on-off thing, but it didn't seem to do anything right when I was testing it, and I don't know what the fuck it's for. And they made it sound like you could hotwire like a fucking 007 missile launcher to it or some shit like that, but I'm like, no, that's fucking gay. So Oh god, I really hope that the tail light still lights up. The tail light is almost disconnected from all this shit because I was testing what was on and what was off when I was trying to figure out the relay and everything. I also put hot wire around these, and there was hot wire around a couple of these joints. I mean, hot glue that I put around these joints. So, hot glue on those also. I'm gonna wrap that all up. That'll be done. Um, Back in here, I didn't know why these fuses right here were all connected, but this one wasn't. Apparently the blue goes to the taillight. That's why. In my wiring diagram. So there's a small little snippet of information. Taillight did work fine. It was great. I'm still waiting for my handlebars to come in the mail. I got new tires that I found that I'm gonna buy. I just cleaned off the rims a little bit, and they are fucking nasty. So, let's see how bad that fucking tire was. Obviously, this is the flat one. That one still holds air, but it's got terrible dry rot. So I'm gonna have to... I can't not paint these rims, because the rest of this bike is immaculate, and seeing this shitty color in here is just not... I'm not having it. I went at this with my rotary wheel and cleaned off all the shit, and just dust and dirt was flying everywhere, and there's still dust and dirt all over it. I don't think I could scrub them enough to get them to look good. Some of the paint was starting to come off. So I think I'm gonna pull off the fucking weights because they won't matter and paint these, but after I get the new tires on them. I'm gonna get Continental TK761s or TK7s or whatever they are for the front. Those are like 60/40 on-road off-roads. And I'm going to get a Duro for the back, which is going to be super badass and knobby. Here's a good little thing that I found when I was inspecting my rotors and taking them off. This was from the back wheel. This rotor's got a lot of wear marks in it, but also it's got a motherfucking crack. That's like, I heard, I don't know, people were hit or miss. Some people said send it, other people said file it down so this doesn't fuck up your pads. Other people were like instant death. And, you know, a buddy of mine, he's got one. Apparently, tidbit of information number 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 you can get from this video is that all the rotors are exactly the same. The holes line up and everything. And he had some extras from the front, and so I'm gonna put one that he's got. He's gonna give it to me on the rear. That was actually from one of the front dual ones. He's got extras or whatever. So yeah, there you go. All the rotors are the same. At least Yamaha considered that. Thanks. After that, the bike should pretty much be done. And maybe I'll do a video on showing, like, me making the side panels. I don't know if that really matters. That's just bullshit, half-assed, freaking garage DIY junk. But this is the important stuff. I couldn't find any information about this fucking turn signal switch because it's so friggin' random. But apparently they sold almost 70 of them on eBay. And so that means 70 other idiots figured out what the hell to do with it. But didn't tell anybody, so that's how you do it. Write it down. I wrote it down. Brown is the power, black is the ground, pink is the horn, going with the horn, yellow is the high beam, teal is the low beam. I might have gotten those backwards, they get them backwards all the way. Gray is left, green is right, and white and brown is turn and power. And I didn't know what the fuck to do with these. You don't really need them. They didn't really do anything. I swear to God. I think this one right here turns on and off with the switch. So maybe this right here would be like a hot element that you could send to something. With the kill switch. I'm thinking that those were for your turn signals. Pretty confident. I just didn't see any change with these, so that's why I was kind of pissed about that. I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Alright, I'm gonna stop rambling. Be another video. Next time you see this thing, it'll be me doing something else to it. See ya. Alright, I'm gonna take this one in stride.
So she adopted
I
that
never really said that
cable
I'm a
chip.
genius. I
And
just said that I
since
can
that
figure
time,
this
and I
stuff
described
out.
it in my
I
first graphic
had
sheet
something
as
strange
something as a
happen
sign of
because
gratitude.
I
She was
thought maybe my
extremely
switch was messed up because it
asked
wasn't
basically
clicking
if I
very
remember.
nicely. And then I realized
She never struck out at
the
me
ignition's not on.
after that time, and she was very much in favor always when I came and always when
Why
I
is it
said
lighting
I
up?
left, because had become part of her family.
The ignition's not on.
So one of the things you learned about this
Why are my
model
signals
feeding,
working?
exchange was that chimps are capable
Alright,
of
the horn's not
sending
on, that's fine.
gratitude. But
So
what was the
apparently
harm
I
from
connected
teaching an adult female how
to
to
that
feed a baby?
yellow and brown or whatever, which is hot all the time.
She did a bunch of things that we never
I don't fucking
thought of,
understand.
like watching when the bottle was getting
But
empty, or pulling it
I
out
can turn it
when
off.
was almost choking on it, or needed to burn.
You know,
and
I don't think I'm
she
gonna
did a
walk
bunch of
away
things
with
that
my
we never
signals
thought of.
flashing all the time.
And so she understood how the thing worked.
Could be good, could be
And
bad.
also, she bonded very
I'm just gonna
strongly
leave
with
it. I don't have the
people that
patience
she
to
knew
fucking
and
figure it
somehow,
out.
which
I'm
basically became
really
the model, and
confused.
is still in the colony.
I don't know why any of those
She
wires
also
work
have her own
when
And we should explain
I mean,
that
yeah,
colony
that's hooked up to ground. Whatever. I'm so done. I'm so done. Everything else works fine. I'm putting the fucking switch back together.
in a
Fuck
zoo
it.
in